What is going on, everybody? We are actually going to be doing a video essentially for players new to Legion, or maybe even if you've played a little bit you might not know this or don't know exactly how it works, but we're going to be going over auras today. So my favorite aura in the entire game, I would have to say, is Butcher over here. I don't have anybody else in this build. So, if you don't know what auras are in Legion, or really how they work, so Butcher, you can see under his name, Tank, has the aura, and then the aura is Leech, and you can hold control if you're scrolled over, and it tells you what the aura does, which grants 20% lifesteal and ability vamp to adjacently built units, does not stack. So, if we put Butcher out here, or just hold him out here and not click him down, so either way. So what you see is all of these boxes around Butcher, right? Best case scenario, you're going to be placing units in, let me get as close as I can.
I am not a gnoblin.
You can do it a few different ways. You can either put 2 units in front of Butcher, so each unit either has 4 squares, so let's just do this. I'll build it differently so you guys can see how it will work. So you're either going to build around your aura of Butcher, either one of these. So this Adam is in this back section, 2 back sections, 1 on the left and right and 2 in the front. Or you can do 1 in the front and 2 on each side, so 4 squares, 4 of these little squares, each one, and then 1 in the back. So let me go right there. Now if you place somebody on these 3 and one of the squares is out, that person does not get lifesteal. So you have to be really careful when building. I used to think as long as they were touching one of the squares, you know, when I first started playing Legion, that it would count. It does not. So the best you can do is 2 in the front, or 1 in the front, and 2 on the sides, or 1 on each side. You can mix it up a little bit. It's difficult to. Actually, I don't really think you can. Yeah, you can. So it's either one of those, because you can't really do 1 on this side and still get it. Now, obviously you want to get as many people in the lifesteal aura as you can. This would not be all 6 units that I could have gotten because I placed him incorrectly, but that's still okay. They still all get it. But obviously you want to build around that. So now you can actually click on the units by Butcher, make sure that they are getting this Leech lifesteal ability, and this little pink aura around them will also show that. But another thing with somebody like Butcher, the abilities do not stack. So it says do not stack under the cannibalism. So if I hit him, these atoms and proton get Leech from this Butcher, which is the first ability, but then they also get cannibalism, which they're both the same thing, but you can't stack them. So the only way you can stack these 2 is if 1 Butcher is upgraded and 1 Butcher is not. So then they are getting both. So if I upgrade this Butcher, they now only have the 1. They do not have both. Hopefully that makes sense. We're gonna have to go ahead and go through this wave really quick, and then we will restart and go through some more I can type. So let's go through and do APS. Who do I get from
Welcome
here?
to Nova.
Unfortunately, nobody again. So, same exact thing with the Butcher is how you see the APS. It's the exact same thing. I don't know why I don't have unlimited money this time. It's annoying. What is the... Anyway, it's the exact same thing, exact same setup as far as auras, 2 in the front or 2 on the sides and 1 on the other one that you didn't have. So it just kind of depends on how you want to build it. Now I don't think that these stack. Yeah, it does not stack. So it does the same thing. So you could still have an MPS and an APS on the same unit, but as long as both of them are not upgraded, only one of them is, then they will get essentially both auras instead of just one. Alright, so next we'll go with a different unit, Warg. So this one
Welcome
didn't
to
even earn
Nova.
money. 1 second, I need to see how we get gold. Do we even get... Greed is good. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So, with wargs, wargs are very
I smell blood.
different. So what happens with wargs is you can choose one of 2 options as far as the upgrade path. You can do Lioness, which gets stronger when built next to expensive units. So, we're going to upgrade to Lioness. We're going to put Yozora out there. Now, they don't... If it's a tier 6 like a Millennium, they will get a little bit of a buff, but right now you can see that the Lioness is not. But when we upgrade our unit like Yozora, we just saw him level up a little bit right there if you saw that. Now they're getting plus percentage because they are surrounded by an expensive unit. So if you watch again, watch that word closely when we click this. Boom, he gets a little bit better, so now he's even gaining more. So the more and more expensive units that you put around the warg, and pretty much everybody's upgraded version will count. It doesn't have to be a super expensive unit, it could be just another warg in general. So let's see. Still gets him up more, still gets him up. Actually, I don't think that that did work. Let me says 4. Okay, so it does have to be a certain percentage, but more than likely, if we would do, let's try Gate Guard, who's a little bit more expensive. Yeah, okay, so 100 or more per unit. So, obviously you could...
I smell blood.
I believe this would work.
You are next. You are next. I see my
Okay,
prey.
so wargs don't
See my
stack on
prey.
themselves. But Alpha Male, the other version, powerful but gets weaker when built next to expensive units. So, if you put one warg out there, and let's just put anybody, upgrade, he actually gets worse. He's now doing less damage, and the more expensive units that you build around him, the weaker he becomes, attack and defense. So, it's definitely best to build him by himself or around units that are obviously not expensive units. You know, build him on the split like he would be on this side with, you know, weaker tier units, and just have him hold instead. So definitely watch out for wargs. I love Lioness because no matter what, as long as you build her, then everybody that you build around her is just gonna increase her stats and make her better. Alpha Male is good. I don't necessarily think that it's better,
See my prey.
but it definitely has more potential, but has more potential to obviously become worse instead of becoming better. So it just kind of depends on how you want to play that and where your hand is already at and where you've already built. So some other units, I'm just doing lock-in so then we can at least guarantee some choices here.
Welcome
I didn't
to
get anybody
Nova.
else, that's okay. So another one is White Mane, which is Antler. So Antler by itself does nothing, but the upgraded version is an aura build that you can then see turns into this. So just like you know, Butcher, APS, MPS, and everything, it then's turned into that. So when you then build units around this White Mane, they then get a White Mane shield and has damage reduction. So that little bubble around there, and you can obviously, you know, just stack these and keep bubbling and bubbling. So it's definitely worth a shot and worth using.
My bow is drawn.
Definitely a very solid tank, and if you build around it nicely, it can definitely help you, you know, kill a bunch of dudes. So we have a few more to go over real quick. I'm really hoping we get, let's see, we'll just do lock again. Alright. So, Disciple
To Nova.
is actually the same as Antler. Her by herself doesn't do anything, but if you upgrade her into the Star Collar,
What do you need?
like this, it becomes the same thing. It's a mana build this time. So, anybody that has mana, somebody like Zeus, he is now getting, where is it? Increased mana regen, because that is what Star Collar does. Increases mana regen for
What do you need?
all units built around it, which is nice. So if you have some mana built units and you start with Disciple and move into Star Collar, it's the same thing. It's the same aura. Every single person in this game or unit's aura in this game looks like this. Okay, so it's either 2 in front and 1 on the sides and 2 in the back, or 1 in the front, 2 on each side, and 1 in the back. Can affect, whoops, up to 6 units. 6 other units, I should say. And it also obviously affects themselves, so they get mana regen, and everybody else gets, you know, lifesteal or speed boost. But it's beneficial enough to adjust everybody
To
else's.
Nova.
So flying, okay, I'm glad that we got a flying unit. So Tempest, again, is actually the exact same thing. Regular Tempest does nothing, but when you upgrade it into Leviathan, what that does is anybody that is a flying unit increases their damage. So increases the damage and ability damage of adjacently built flying units, stacking up to 2 times. So somebody like these Protons, which obviously isn't great, but see they got this little red buff around them. Then you can see has increased damage because of it. Now with them, I think that you actually can stack. Yes, so you can stack it, but only twice. So this Tempest Leviathan build, you can actually stack, unlike Butcher and MPS. I don't remember if you can stack Star Color or not. You can stack white mains as well, but Butcher and MPS you can't. With Tempest and this Leviathan you can, and you can just keep building and building. You know, especially if you have a bunch of flying units, you can obviously make a nice team if you have enough flying units. Oops, sorry, you have to get through wave 1 so then we can restart. And then we have one last one to go over. Hopefully this has been helpful enough to everybody. So again, up to 6 units can be affected by everybody in this game's aura. Just make sure you are placing them correctly. Obviously you can't all the time. Obviously you'll roll into some units and it might not be the best. It just depends. So last one
Welcome
is Grarl.
to Nova.
So Grarl himself does nothing like some of these other aura units, but if you give him Ocean Templaire, oops. What that does is grants adjacently built units missing health regen and damage reduction from magic. Does not stack. So anybody that we place then around the Grarl, which again you can see if you click on him after the fact, it's the same setup, 2 in the front or 1 in the front, 2 on the sides. Just make sure you are not putting somebody in these squares where there's only 3. Okay, so somebody right here, you can see that he does not get any buff while this infiltrator does. Okay, so just make sure of where you're placing them. Be careful with it. You can obviously, you know, do some other things like that to make other people better, you know, so then multiple people are getting multiple buffs. But I hope that helped everybody. You know, if you're new to Legion, hopefully that helped you a little bit understand how auras work, how to best utilize them, how to build around them, what ones stack and what ones don't. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think, what you guys like to use, questions that you might have. Hopefully I'll be able to answer. And then I might do a split video as well for new players, because even if you've played a little bit, you know, I used to think I understood auras for a while until I didn't, until I realized what they actually did and how to best utilize them. So let me know what you guys would like to see from Legion. I will make a split video because that's definitely something that was super beneficial for me to learn when learning the game of Legion to start. So we'll see you guys on the next one.